Peace, my family, and roll back to all those coming out of that good cocoon for the first time. Welcome. This your girl, the butterfly, and we about to take off. Let's fly. Just want to send you all the good healing energy your way. Peace, love, happiness, harmony, and abundance. Hope you guys are out there keeping your mind right in that good 9 mind. How y'all feeling today? Hope you guys most definitely moving up in your higher natures and cleansing. Say what? Cleansing the lows. I came over here today to express and share another clip from our master teacher's book called The L's Holy Injiyl, the Book of Revelations, and it continues. This right here will certainly help you on this good journey within. So with that being said, family, let's get started. Already know. So, and it reads chapter 8, the opening of the seventh seal, verse 1. And when Festus, the Lamb, opened the seventh stamp, there was silence in the Orion skies for a half an hour. And when he unsealed the seventh stamp, there was a silence in heaven for about a half an hour. And it reads again, and when he unsealed the seventh stamp, there was a silence in heaven for about a half an hour. And it reads again, and when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven for about the space of in half an hour. And it reads, and when the Lamb, the Messiah Jesus, the Lamb of sacrifice, to suffer persecution, because he will speak the truth, opened the seventh stamp, and what is contained in this seal is made clear, from beginning, Sof, to end, else Quran. There was silence in the Orion skies, meaning man would have a grace period before the end comes. Let me repeat that one more time. One more time. And it reads, and when the Lamb, the Messiah, Jesus, the Lamb of sacrifice, to suffer persecution because he will speak the truth, opened the seventh stamp, and what is contained in this seal is made clear from beginning Els Shuf to end Els Quran, and there was silence in the Orion skies, meaning man would have a grace period before the end comes. The end was expected to occur in the year 1970 AD. But this command was put off until the year 2000 AD for half an hour, symbolic of the 30 years from 1970 AD to 2000 AD, when the evil one's rule is up. Alright, now, the seven messengers stood before the Theos and were given the seven trumpets. Verse 2. And I saw the seven angels standing between Theos, 2 hands, and they were given 7 trumpets. And it says it again, and I saw the 7 Malachi, angelic beings, 2 hands, angelic beings, standing between Allah's 2 hands, and they were given 7 trumpets. And it reads again, and I saw the 7 Malachi, angelic beings, standing between Allah's 2 hands, and they were given the 7 trumpets. And I saw the 7 Melech standing between Yahweh of the Elohim's two hands, and they were given 7 trumpets. And it reads, And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And it reads again, And when I, John, son of Zebedee, saw the 7 Elohim, the Anunnaki, who are the cherubim of destruction, symbolic of the 7 plagues destined to fall upon the inhabitants of the planet Earth. The same 7 plagues spoken of in Injiyl are also expounded on in the Holy Quran. The opening of the 7th seal will signal the uncovering revelation of all truths and untruths, as well as the beginning of the woes or plagues to swage the planet Earth. And it reads, the first plague. Revelation 8:7. And it reads, the first Elohim sounds, the signals of fire and blood mangled from the sky to be cast upon the earth. This plague denoted war. And it reads, this is the Quran, and this is 74, 8 through 9. And it reads, Surah Mudath, or Mudathir, the one who is covered. The trumpet will sound, and the plagues will begin. The second plague, which is Revelation 8, 8 through 9, and it reads, Second Elohim sounds and signals a mountain burning with fire cast into the sea. 1/3 part of the sea and the creatures of the sea are affected. The plague denoted the effects of the war on the sea. And then it reads, Rav, one moment. Alright now. Distractions. Anywho, the second plague, Revelation 8, 8 through 9, and it reads again, Rawal el Quara, the striking people will be scattered like moths, and mountains will become like sheared wool. Again, one moment. Alright now, the third plague, Revelation 8:10. The third Elohim sounds and signals a star falling from heaven, making the waters become wormwood. This is the, and it stops right there. It goes into the Holy Quran 81, 1 through 6, and it reads, Sarah ha Takoraya, the condensed ball. The sun loses its light and is condensed into plague of germ warfare. A ball. The stars are darkened and the sea caused to boil and burn. Okay, so it goes on to the fourth plague, and it reads, Revelation 8:12, and it reads, the fourth Elohim sounds and signals, and a 1/3 part of the moon, sun, and stars loses their light. This is the plague of disturbance to the galactical bodies. Then it goes into the Holy Quran 75, the Holy Quran 75:12, and it reads, Harath el Karma, the standing resurrection speaks of the day of resurrection when the sun and the moon are brought together. Then it goes into the fifth plague, which is Revelations 9, 1 through 2, and it reads, the fifth Elohim sounds the signals a star from heaven to wrath which opens a pit from which becomes a smoke as if it is from a furnace. This plague is a bomb of nuclear warfare. And it reads again, El's Holy Quran 44:10 through 11. Sarah ha Dukahan or Dukahan, the cloud of smoke, the heavens shall bring a evident smoke that will overtake man. And it reads the sixth plague, Revelations 9:13 to 15, and it reads, and the sixth Elohim sounds, and John son of Zebedee sees a horse of destruction, and it reads again in El's Holy Quran 100:1 through 5, and it reads, Sarah ha Hadayat, the horseman or the apocalypse, describes the four horsemen of the apocalypse who will cause disaster to come upon the earth. And this now reads the seventh plague, and it reads Revelations 11:13 and 15, and it reads, a fatal and final earthquake occurs after which the seventh Elohim will sound, bringing the end of earth as we know it. Then it goes into El's Holy Quran 99:1 through 4, and it reads Rahua Zal or Zelda, the earthquake, and it tells of how the earth will quake with a tremble, with a terrible quaking. And it reads again, the seventh Anunnaki Elohim was standing between Theos, two hands, meaning that they are under his power, and they were given seven trumpets, which is the announcement of the destruction of the end of the world, signaling its coming. And it reads, the prayers of the Gagulos, holy ones, is occurred up and accepted by Theos. And it reads again, then another Angelos came and stood before the altar, and with him was a gold incense holder with a lot of. And it reads again, then another Malachi came and stood before the altar, with him was a lot of incense to be given for the worshippers of the community of the holy ones above the gold altar which is before the seat of Theos. Then it reads again, incense to be given for the worships of the community of the holy ones above the gold altar which is before the seat of Allah. Then it reads again, then another Malachi came and stood before the altar, and with him was a lot of incense to be given for worshippers of the community of the Holy One above the gold altar which is between the seats of Yahweh of the Elohim. And it reads again, and another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense that he had offered it with prayers of the saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. One moment. The other Elohim who was the Anunnaki Elohim Melchizedek, also called Murdoch, son of Enki and Mekina. The Elohim Anunnaki, who has 720 degrees of knowledge, came and stood before the altar, and with him was gold incense holder with a lot of incense to be given for the worshippers of those who pray today, of the community of the 144,000. El Quasin, the holy ones, the El Mukadisia, the purified ones, above the gold altar in Nibiru, which is before the seat of Theos. And it reads again, and the smoke of the incense rose upward from the worshippers of the holy ones, from the hands of Angelos messengers before Theos. And it reads again, and the smoke of the incense rose upward from the worshippers of the holy one, from hands of Malachi, the angelic being before Allah, and then the smoke of the incense rose upward from the worshippers of the Holy One, from the hand of Malachi before Yahweh of the Elohim. And it reached again, and the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the smoke of the incense rose upward from the worshippers of the holy ones that will be accepted from the hand of the Anunnaki Elohim, Marduk, Melchizedek, before Theos. And it reads, the beginning of the wraths upon man. The earth was destroyed by fire. And it reads, then this 8 angels took the incense holder and filled it with fire from the altar and cast it upon the planet earth, and there was a thunder. Then the Malach took the incense holder and filled it with fire from the altar and cast it upon the planet earth, and there was thunder and lightning and voices and lightning and voices and great earthquake. A great earthquake. Then the Malach took the incense holder and filled it with the fire from the altar and cast it upon the planet earth, and there was thunder and lightning and voices and a great earthquake. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth, and there were voices and thunders and lightnings and another earthquake. Then this Elohim Melchizedek took the incense holder and filled it with fire from the heavenly altar and cast it upon the planet earth, showing that the fire will come down from heaven. And there was thunder and lightning and voices and a great earthquake of California that is to come. And it reads, blowing off the trumpets. Blowing of the trumpets, verse 6. And it reads, and the 7 angels who each had 7 trumpets ready to blow their trumpets. And the 7 Malach who each had 7 trumpets ready to blow their trumpets. And the 7 Malach who each had the 7 trumpets ready to blow their trumpets. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. And the 7 arch messengers, the Anunnaki Elohim, who each had 7 trumpets ready to blow, but has not yet blown the trumpets, in order to bring 7 plagues of destruction upon the inhabitants of the planet earth. And it reads again, and the first of the 7 angels blew its trumpet, and there was cold and fire mixed with blood, and it was cast into the planet earth. And 1/3 of the planet earth was burned, and 1/3 of the trees and all the green grass burnt. And the first of the 7 Malachites blew its trumpet, and there was cold and fire and mixed with blood, and cast into the planet earth. 1/3 of the planet earth was burned, and 1/3 of the trees and all green grass burnt. And it reads again, and the first of the 7 Malach blew its trumpet, and there was cold and fire mixed with blood, and was cast into planet earth, and 1/3 of the planet earth was burned, and 1/3 of the trees and all the grass burnt. And it reads again, and the first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire and mingled blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the 1/3 part of the trees was burnt up, and the green grass was burnt up. And it reads again, and the first cherubim of the 7 arch messengers to bring destruction blew its trumpet, bringing about the Vietnam War of 1957 AD, and ended in January of 1973 AD. And there was cold, in which John described a hail. However, in actuality, it was really a shower of bullets and fire of sparks from those same bullets mixed in with blood, being symbolic of the war and the bloodshed of man in the planet earth by way of guns and bombs, and was cast into the planet earth. and the 1/3 of the planet Earth was burned, and 1/3 of the trees and all the green grass was burnt, and the sum of these elements denote war. And it reads again, the second trumpet sounds, and bombs are cast unto earth. Verse 8. And it reads, the second angel blew his trumpet, and the likeness of the great mountain burning up with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became bloody. And then the second Malachi blew its trumpet, and the likeness of a great mountain burning up in fire was cast into the river lake, and a third part of the rivers became bloody. Then the second Malachi blew its trumpet, and the likeness of a great mountain burning up with fire was cast into the river lake, and a third part of the river became bloody. And then the second angel sounded, as it were a great mountain burning with fire, and was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. And it reads again, and the second Elohim, the cherubim of destruction, blew its trumpet, and the likeness of the great mountain building, such as a skyscraper, will tremble at the destruction, at the disaster of war. And burning up the fire was cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea became bloody. Verse 9, and it reads, and a third of the living things of the sea, which had spirit, were dead, and a third part of the crafts were burnt up, and the third part of the living things of the sea had spirit, were dead, and the third part of the ships were burnt up, and a third of the living things of the sea which had spirit were dead, and a third part of the ships were burnt up. And it reads again, and the third part of the creatures which were in the sea had life, died, and then the third part of the ships were destroyed. And it reads again, and the third part of the battleships, the submarines, the boats which are living things of the sea, which had spirit, were dead, and a third of the crafts were broken up and destroyed by the battle. And it reads, Epsindos falls from heaven, and the stars are smitten, and the next 3 trumpets are yet to sound, and loose the wraths of Theos on man. And it reads again, and the third angel blew his trumpet, and there were cast from Orion, and the third Malachi blew, and blue skies, a great star, bright like a lamp of fire. It was cast upon the third of the rivers and the streams of the water. This trumpet, and there was cast from Sama a great star, bright like a lamp of fire, and it was cast upon the third of the rivers and the springs of the water. And it reads again, and the third Malachi blew its trumpet, and there was cast from heaven a great star, bright like a lamp of fire, and it was cast upon a third of the rivers and the springs of the waters. And it reads again, and the third angel sounded, and fell a great star from heaven, burning as it was a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the third Elohim, that was a cherubim of destruction, blew its trumpet, and there was cast from the Orion skies a great star, bright like a lamp of fire, being of the plate of German warfare. It affected the bodies of the water of the planet Earth, and it was cast upon the third of the rivers and affected all the springs of the waters, making the supply of fresh water limited. And it reads, and the stars name is bitterness, and a third of the waters became bitter, meaning people died because the water became bitter. And then the stars' name is bitterness, and a third of the waters became bitter, and many died because the waters became bitter. And then the stars' name is bitterness, and a third of the waters became bitter, and many people died because the waters became bitter. And the name of the star is called wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. And it reads, and the star's name's bitterness, and a third of the waters became bitter, poison from germ warfare, and many people died because the waters became bitter. They were unsafe to drink due to its contamination. And it reads, and the fourth angel blew his trumpet, and a third of the sun became eclipsed, and a third part of the moon, and a third part of the stars, so that their lights lost a third part of their day, and there was no light from a third of the day and a third of the shadow. And the fourth Malachi blew its trumpet, and a third of the sun became eclipsed, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that their lights lost a third of the day and a third of the night. And it reads, and the fourth Malachi blew its trumpet, and a third of the sun became eclipsed, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that their lights lost a third of the day and a third of the night. And the third of the day and third of the night. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them were darkened, and the day shone not, but a third part of it, and the night likewise. And it reads, and the third part of it, and the third part of it, and the night likewise. So it goes on, and it reads, and the fourth Elohim, who was a cherubim to bring destruction, blew its trumpet, and his plague brought a disturbance of the galactical bodies. A third of the sun became eclipsed, and this was a solar eclipse, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that their lights lost a third part of their day, which is 8 hours. And the solar system was shaken, diverting from the normal pattern of functioning. Stars fell out of their orbits, and the sun and the moon merged together. For the sun and the moon became one in perfect alignment, the ultimate or final disruption of the solar system will occur. And this solar eclipse does not permit the sun to give light of the planet Earth, and there was no light for a third of the day, equaling 4 years, and a third of the shadow hour, equaling 8 years. And so, the next verse 13, and it reads, and I saw a third of the voice of one flying in the midst of the skies, saying in a supreme voice, plague, plague, plague be upon all who live on planet Earth, because of the rest of the voices of the 3 angels who are determined to blow the trumpets. And the 6th angelic being blew its trumpet, and I heard one of the voices of the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before the sight of Allah. And it reads, and the 6th Malachi blew its trumpet, and I, John, Bar Zebedee, heard one of the voices of the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before the sight of Yahweh, of the Elohim. And it reads, and the 6th Malachi blew its trumpet, and I, Yukiana, John, Bar Zebedee, heard one of the voices of the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before the sight of Yahweh, of the Elohim. And it reads again, and I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels which are yet to sound. And it reads, and I, John, son of Zebedee, saw and heard the voice of one messenger, Malachi Zorak, flying in the midst of the sky, saying in a supreme voice, plague, plague, plague. 3 more plagues are destined to strike upon who live on planet Earth, because of the rest of the voices of the 3 arch messengers who are determined to blow their trumpets to release the remaining plagues. And that right there is the end of that chapter. So for now, I'm going to leave it at that. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer. And this is much encouraged for you to read it yourself. And it is on the channel if you are interested. It's in the link and the little emoji with the books on it under the Better Guide of Living video, one of them. Just click on the emoji with the books on it, and you'll see in the link in the descriptions, you'll see all our master teachers, not all of them, but some of our master teachers books, a lot of them. Okay, but either way, this will help you on this good journey within. So, and this book is in there, so there you go. All right, now, so again, I'm also going to post these sections as well, and that'll definitely help you as well if you want to just take parts of it at a time. But either way, I'm going to post it. So again, I hope you guys know that you are loved beyond this world. I hope you know. And I know the book of Revelations, the L's Holy Injiyl, is heavy sometimes. And it's a lot to be said in it. And it's heavy. But again, the truth must be told. And I know sometimes it gets a little... But again, family, this is all out of love for people to know what's happening here on this planet, right? So, again, I'm leaving it at that for now. Because, again, I know people may have questions and may really want to know. And a lot of people don't know how to, really know what's happening and don't know what's going on with knowing and really breaking down Revelation, explaining it in its fullness. So our master teacher does that, and it's for us to take heed, right? So again, and learn and grow, right? So again, it's prophecy. So again, that's what that is. All right, now. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. Again, know that you are loved beyond this world. I hope you know. Begin to spread the love one to another. Be the peace that you seek. Released, our master teacher, Dr. Malachi. Peace, shalom, hashtag divine love, and